We first meet Jenny Greengrass, an elementary school teacher at a nearby childcare. Classes on Friday end, and Jenny is picked up by her lover Steve Taylor. The two get together right away, going on a romantic date. It turns out that they are spending the weekend at a secluded lake in the English countryside, where Steve is going to pop the question. It's obvious that the journey will take a while and the sunlight sets before they get there. They thus make the decision to spend the night at a motel. They reach Eden Lake, a gated neighborhood tucked away in the heart of the woods the following day. The two decide to walk the remaining distance after parking their car in the woods. A short stroll later, they are rewarded with a breathtaking panorama that encompasses the entire town. They come upon Adam, a young, bashful lad, as they descend to the lake. Who's filling his container with insects? Jenny tries to chat to him as she approaches, and he addresses them as strangers, refusing to engage in conversation. Soon after, the pair finds themselves in the tranquil Eden Lake, where they are in awe of the scenery. After that, they curled up together and enjoyed the sun. But soon after, a bunch of boisterous adolescent males and their dogs show there, ruining their romantic moment. Adam is ridiculed and ejected from the scene by them. In spite of this, the couple chooses not to cause trouble and to stay where they are and put up with their loud music. Jenny shuts her eyes and drifts off to sleep in the sun. Nevertheless, the group's Rottweiler wakes her up. After a little while, the dog barks on Jenny once more, so Steve decides to take a swim. He approaches the teens because he can no longer stand it and tells them to take care of their dog and turn down the music. The boys, however, are unwilling to cooperate. Rather, their leader, Brett, angrily disputes with him and dismisses him. Subsequently, one of the group members uses binoculars to examine Jenny. She protects herself because she is quite uncomfortable. The boisterous group departs after a bit, but not before one of them obscenely displays his genitalia to them. After that, Jenny gets wood for their night's rest as Steve pitches the tent. She hears rustling sounds in the distance during this, but chooses to ignore them. That evening, while Jenny enjoys the campfire, she hears the noises coming from the woods once more. When she tells her partner about it, he advises her not to worry about it. When Steve and Jenny wake up the next morning, their food supplies are swarming with insects. They make the decision to travel to a neighboring restaurant to dine now that they are foodless. However, they hit an empty bottle the hooligans left behind as they continue to drive away, which results in for their tires to become flat. Before leaving, Steve manages to patch the tire by grabbing a tool. Steve notices the rowdy teenagers riding their bicycles around the town as soon as they get there. He decides to pursue them because he is furious, but they flee into a private area. The pair then goes to the A meal, where Steve asks the waiter about the kids' group, but instead of responding to his worries, she merely says that they aren't her children. Steve notices a number of bicycles lying about on a house's front lawn after they finish their breakfast. Perceiving it as the teenagers' residence, he makes the decision to enter and lodge a grievance against their actions to their parents. As he enters the building, he discovers the door is ajar and proceeds inside, inquiring as to if anyone is present. Brett's father is the homeowner who shows up shortly after. Steve swiftly escapes the house through a window. After that, he dashes back to the vehicle and they return to the lake. Later, Jenny naps on the beach as Steve makes the decision to go scuba diving. When he gets back, he is ready to ask her to marry him. Jenny discovers, however, that their bag, which had their phones, purses, and car keys, is missing just as he is about to complete the task. They dash for their car, only to realize it's gone when they get to their parking space. With nothing else to go, the two set out on foot towards the town. While traveling, Brett's careless driving in their own vehicle almost causes them to be struck. The psychotic gang boss pauses to give a brief smile before taking off. Following this, the couple keeps going, and as dusk approaches, they discover the gang campfire in the woods. Steve then comes up to them and asks for his stuff to be returned. Brett, though, claims he has no idea what he's talking about. Steve moves forward to get his phone as it rings at the same moment. This starts a fight among him and the group, in where one of them gets hurt, takes a knife out. In the midst of the fight, Steve manages to get hold of the knife and ends up stabbing Brett's dog. As Jenny and Steve take off with Steve's car keys, Brett breaks down in tears. The pair gets into their car and drives off, but the gang follows after them. Sadly, the vehicle becomes stalled on a steep incline, which allows the gang to catch up. Subsequently, they begin hurling stones at the car. shattering its windows and headlights. However, Steve succeeds in getting the car rolling just in time to stop them from breaking in. After this, they speed into the forest, but the automobile crashes into a pile of trees because of the darkness and the poorly marked driveway. When Steve finds himself stuck by a tree sector, he gives Jenny the command to flee and seek assistance right soon. Jenny carefully makes her way back to the car in the morning to discover her boyfriend has left. After that, she follows a blood trail until it leads her to the crew in a tiny clearing. She is horrified to learn that they are abusing Steve severely and have strapped him to a stone with barbed wire. Additionally, Brett gives the order to shoot him so that the teens would all be held accountable. Paige, a female group member, even records the abuse as a backup on her phone. Jenny connects to Steve's phone via wireless on her GPS after discovering they are going to kill him. When she calls 9999 for assistance, Brett hears it and assumes she must be nearby. Jenny runs away, sensing that she is in danger, but the gang members see her and follow her with their bikes. Despite the terrible discomfort, Steve seizes the chance to break free and flee. Jenny uses a log she obtains during the chase to cause the gang guy's bike to collapse. She keeps running until she encounters a modest mobile house. She gets closer to it. A radio phone is visible inside, but she can't reach it. Jenny reaches out to seize it, but the adolescents get there before. With nowhere to run, Jenny scales the roof and remains there until the group departs. Then, as one of the gang members runs to see how Steve is doing, he finds that he has fled. Steve heads to his car to grab some first aid supplies in the meanwhile. But the moment he unlocks the car's trunk, the alarm goes off. The teenagers rush in the same direction after hearing the alarm. Steve flees as quickly as he can, finally coming back together with his partner. After that, the two carry on with their adventure through the forest, arriving at a tiny wooden cottage in due course. When she notices that he is bleeding profusely, she tries to provide some first aid. She starts crying during this when she discovers an engagement ring in his pocket. The teenage gang soon makes an appearance at the site. When they swiftly enter the cabin, all they discover are first aid kit remnants and bloodstains. It comes out that the couple is submerged in water, having hidden beneath the cabin. Following the teenager's departure, Jenny pulls Steve from the water and places him on the ground. There is no movement left in him because of the serious injuries on his body. Jenny makes the decision to travel to town and obtain assistance after realizing how urgent the issue is. She wearing the engagement ring and makes the vow to return for him before leaving. However, she trips on a large spike while fleeing, and her left leg is pierced. She screams loudly as a result of the tremendous pain she is in. But Jenny finds a way to get to a secret area and take out the spike before the goons can locate her. Adam abruptly approaches her as she lies down looking for her strength. She asks him to take her out of the forests, but he replies to the gang members with a text that gives away where she is. Regretfully, one of them appears right away and knocks her unconscious from behind. A while later, Jenny awakens to discover that her boyfriend has already died and that she is bound to a massive tree trunk next to him. Brett then gathers bushes behind them and pours gasoline on them with the intention of setting them on fire. Even though his gang's other members are clearly worried, they lack the courage to confront their leader. Adam follows Brett's instructions to complete the task, and in exchange, Brett offers to welcome him into the gang. The boy gives in because he is fed up with being teased and excluded. Paige records Steve's body being burned first. Fortunately, though, Jenny's rope miraculously burns through over time, giving her an opportunity to free herself and flee. Brett, enraged, douses Adam in gasoline and then utilizes him as a lure to get her to come back. But the brutal boss kills the youngster by burning him alive when Jenny disobeys his warning. Jenny keeps running and soon finds a map of the trail, which she uses to figure out how to get out. She hears the kids arriving right then, so she hastily covers in a dirty trash can to avoid being caught. She grabs a glass shard from the rubbish and armed herself after they depart. Soon after, she notices Cooper, a gang member, in a mirror who seemed eager to assist her, but Jenny attacks him using her hand weapon, clearly seeing him as a threat. She regrets what she did right away. The other gang members discover Cooper's lifeless body that evening. At this time, Harry, one of the gang members, loses it and starts blaming Brett for everything. Even when he calls the police, Brett beats him up because he doesn't want to go to jail. Paige flees after realizing this, as if scared of his aggressive actions. Jenny eventually makes it to the road, where she flags down a van in the interim. As soon as she gets in, She yells at the driver to take her to town. However, the latter states that he is searching the jungle for his brother. Jenny quickly discovers that his sibling is a member of the group. She so takes the van and runs away from the scene as the driver gets out to look for his brother. She then runs Paige over in a fit of spiteful wrath, showing no regret. Jenny eventually arrives at the city, but she is so tired that she can't concentrate on anything. As a result, she runs into a house's front garden while a party is still going on. Upon regaining consciousness, she witnesses a woman providing her with comfort. The worst part about her lock, though, is that Jenny understands she's in Brett's house when she spots some wall photos. The gang members' parents make up the remaining group of people. She begs to be led to the bathroom in a panic, where she takes out a razor blade to defend herself. At this juncture, Brett's dad discovers the wrecked van and knows it belonged to his younger son. This causes a disturbance, and Brett's dad opens the door with a kick. Jenny notices Brett outside, and he persuades the other parents that Steve and she are to blame for their children's demise. Jenny pleads with them to contact the authorities, but they all want to hold her accountable for what transpired. It comes out that the parents of the gang members shield them from punishment and are just as insane and homicidal as their children. The parents then lead Jenny outside, and Brett goes to his room and closes the door to stop her cries. He takes Steve's sunglasses on, deletes the footage of the gang's misdeeds from Paige's phone, and looks simply into a mirror. The story finishes here.